This is the Vinson Court, and this is the U.S. Supreme Court that decided a case called Youngstown Sheet and Tube Company v. Sawyer. This case was decided in 1952, and it has to do with presidential authority. Here we go. At the time this took place, the United Steelworkers of America were quite upset, and they were saying, we're going to go on strike. This was quite upsetting to President Truman because we were in the midst of the Korean War. This was in April of 1952. He went forward and issued an order saying that the Secretary of Commerce had to seize and operate most of the nation's steel mills in order to avert the strike from occurring. This got appealed all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the question was very simple. Did the president have the constitutional authority to seize and operate the steel mills? This question became complicated because at the lower court level, the court held the president went too far with his executive order. When it was appealed, the Court of Appeals said, it's fine, the president can do this, no problem. That's why the U.S. Supreme Court needed to get involved in order to set the standard here. And what they said was, there was no express or implied powers anywhere written in a statute or in the Constitution that gave the president the authority to take over this kind of an industry. And because the authority was nowhere within the law, it was outside of the scope of his authority. Now, they did argue perhaps it was under his war powers authority, but the Supreme Court said, we'd like to remind you that the Korean War has not officially been declared a war, and therefore the presidential war powers do not apply in this particular situation. Therefore, the executive order was held unconstitutional, not allowed. President Truman was very upset about that, but that's just how things went down. So when it comes to presidential power, there can be some limitations. Not only that, but we also have to be careful when we're using the umbrella term of war powers, and there actually has to be a declared war on the table in order for those powers to be invoked. There you have it, a very interesting case regarding President Truman's fight with the U.S. Supreme Court over an executive order.